like to call the order of the Common Council meeting for March 22nd, 2022 at 6:13 p.m. Attendance roll call.
Alderpersons Madden.
Here.
Kubaki.
Here.
Engelhardt.
Here.
Kapusta is absent. Terrence.
Here.
Hamel.
Here.
And Wolf.
Here.
We have a quorum present.
Thank you. Statement of public notice.
The meeting was noticed in accordance with the open meeting law.
Public comment. It's the opportunity for the public to say what they want on anything on the agenda. I don't see any public here besides Scott, so I'm going to continue on to communications from the mayor's office. A couple things. The Waukesha Water project is still making its way through our community very disruptively. We are in the process right now. I'm getting probably daily questions as in restoration. Don't have any good answers for them right now. We are withholding a permit for the last section until we come to an agreement with the letter of credit from them. We would like to get a letter of credit in place for the restorations with timetables if they want that last part released for, otherwise we're holding the permit for that last section until they do all the restoration. So they have a choice to either do the restoration first or give us a very large letter of credit before we're gonna let them continue on. It's a mess, and I apologize for the citizens out there that I wish we had more say over it, but it's not our project, and we're doing the best we can to protect the interests of the community at this point, and we're trying to get a bigger stick maybe to enforce some of this at this point. The dam was raised yesterday, in fact, on Little Muskego Lake. Last year, there was some complaints about when we did it, and coupled with the drought last year, the water levels were relatively low. And I shouldn't say coupled with the drought. Water levels were low last year because of the drought. Their hope was this year was with the rain coming up today and the rest of this week, that if we could raise the dam earlier to get that water level up, so the anglers and people can use the lake a little sooner. Because of the fact that we had sizable less amount of snow this year, so part of the reason of keeping the water, lowering the water levels in that lake is for stormwater capacity as snow melts and rains come in. Probably not as much of a risk this year with the snow melt because it's just not as sizable amount of snow. Bottom line is we did raise it earlier. We'll see what kind of feedback we get. I know a lot of people were happy to see that. There are some people that typically use that week between when the ice goes off to when we raise it to get some of their piers that they got to build in. It gives them time to put it in with the lower level, which they probably won't have this year, but trying to react to what majority of the people wanted. So we'll see how that goes going forward. Last thing I want to bring up is absentee ballots. I want to encourage people, plead with people, state to people, do not put your absentee ballots in that drop box out there. It is well marked, very well marked. There's decals all over it. There's decals when you open it, yet we still got 2 of them in this week. So somebody can do that. I'm under the assumption that the 2 people that did it were probably trying to test us to see if we were breaking the law by accepting them, but they got mailed back to the individuals because they had a return address on there. But please do not put your absentee ballots in there. They have to either be brought in person to the by the person who has them filled out to the clerk's office or mailed in to be accepted. So please follow that. That ends communications from the mayor's office. Consent agenda. Approval of the Common Council minutes from March 8th, 2022. Resolution 021-2022, approval of an agreement between the City of Muskego and any licensed vendor and or nonprofit organization to operate a beer garden. Resolution 022-2022, resolution regarding MS4 permit compliance. Resolution 023-2022, approval of a dedication of public improvements for Cobblestone Meadows.
Motion to approve and grows. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. There is no new business. Review of committee reports. In front of you is Finance Committee meeting from February 22nd, 2022. And Moving on to first reading of ordinances and second reading if rules are waived. Ordinance number 1470, an ordinance to add chapter 297 to the municipal code of the city of Muskego, short-term rentals. Any questions, comments, or things you need for second reading?
This is like doing Airbnb out of your
Correct.
house type thing?
So currently, we do that through a conditional use grant on a case-by-case basis through the Plan Commission. It would behoove us to have some uniformity and an ordinance dictating that most communities that are attracting these, and typically they're communities with lakes or other recreational activities around, have an ordinance in place, and that this is our attempt at doing one.
Has there been anything that causes to come about? Has there been problems or?
Not problems, but we did have a rather contentious, lengthy public hearing last year for one home on Lake Danoon. It just gives us an opportunity to make sure that we have rules in place to kind of balance the property owner's rights to be able to rent your place, along with the public's, the people that bought a single-family residential home to enjoy the property, not to live next to a hotel. So we're kind of putting some guidelines out there to try to balance those two rights.
What's the, how's it going to be enforced, I guess? Is that?
So there, if you read through the ordinance, there's a number of different things. There's conditions that they have to follow. They have to get a permit from the city. They do annual inspections. They would be, or there's an inspection, I shouldn't say annual inspections. There's a initial inspection. Is there annuals on this one? I don't believe there is. No. So you get the initial inspection, make sure that you qualify and have the right stuff you have to have in there.
Only if there's a complaint.
Yeah, if there's a complaint following, it gives a complaint process. It just kind of spells out the rules of operating going forward.
I guess my thing is, or one thing that I question is, how do we know people are going to do it?
Generally, it'd be complaint driven at this point.
Okay.
If we start having a lot of these, I own a vacation home up in central Wisconsin that the community up there, which a lot of this was kind of modeled after a couple different communities, but we took some from here and there. They mainly to make sure that if people are in compliance. There's services as a city you can subscribe to that monitors all the commercial sites for people advertising rentals on there. I don't think we need to go to that level right now. But if this were to turn into something where you have substantial amount of people realizing the income that they can make on these, maybe it's something we look at. But right now I think it's just, let's make it complaint driven if people are renting their home for more than 10 days. So if you're just going to do it like 1 week or up to 10 days in a year, you don't need to do this. It's the person that's going to be, buying a house and making a business out of it.
I just want to thank Jeff and the mayor for putting this together. It does protect the property rights of adjacent property owners. And there will be complaints.
There already are. I've had a couple on Little Muskego, but not enough where they would call the city. They just vented to me, and then that was the end of it.
Well, this also gives the police some authority to take some action if people are out of compliance. So it makes perfect sense.
How much traffic of that kind do we have?
How much what?
How much traffic of this kind do we have?
I suspect there's more out there than we know about right now.
Yeah.
People just aren't doing anything.
Yeah, people just aren't doing anything.
But how much are we knowing at this point, I guess, yes?
Find out.
Just a handful or?
There's a handful right now.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's more than out there than we're aware of, since we have 3 lakes. This is the kind of, this is most VBROs in this area are going to be for that, unless, like the RNC, say we get the RNC or Harley Fest and things like that, where the general public will more people open their homes up. However, the one or two time people this won't apply to, because they're going to be less than 10 days anyway. So.
Can you give us an idea on a fee?
Oh, yeah. So what we need to, we're going to need some guidance from council on this for the fee for the permit. I can give you some examples. The town of Rome, who has theirs, and I have a home there, and that's why I know it. And I've looked into doing it with my house. So used to charge $300 for the permit annually. They realized that was not covering their costs between clerk's time, the inspections and everything else, so they raised it to 500, and the town administrator said that's about where it covers their cost. I think anyone that's gonna be doing this as a business, the $500 annually is fine, but what are your thoughts?
It's fine.
It's reasonable.
I think it's reasonable. It's what most communities are doing, somewhere in that ballpark. They range anywhere from, I've seen them anywhere from $250 to $1,000.
Yeah.
I would think that most, in this area, it'd be mostly summer months, right?
It's mostly summer months. I can tell you that
You might
people,
have some winter, but it.
they're not renting these houses for less than $400 to $500 a night. So they're giving up one night a year. Any other feedback on that? Stick with that. We can always adjust it later.
Is that the only thing, the only fee they pay is that?
That's the only fee they're going to have. They will have to, with the next ordinance is adding a room tax. And so they would have to collect a 8% room tax and pay that as well.
And there's also a state fee, a tourist fee,
Tourist
The
fees, but that
tourist-
gets paid to the state as well,
Right,
yeah.
Tourist rooming house fee, right.
and an insurance requirement, which makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense too.
How much is room tax?
8%.
Oh, I thought you said 80.
80%? Wow. It's a heck of a tax.
That's a
Then we
tax.
can open a baseball field.
Yeah, that's right.
Very taxing. Need a motion?
So, well.
No, it's a first
just-
reading,
Yeah, so,
so-
is there anything any further information anyone needs for the second reading on that? All right, hearing none, going on to ordinance 1471, ordinance to add chapter 286 to the municipal code of the city of Muskego, room taxes. So this kind of goes in joint. If we're going to allow rooming houses and everything else, we should probably take this opportunity to put the tax in place. I was surprised. We used to have one, and it got repealed it somewhere over the line.
2011.
It got taken out in 2011 because we didn't have a hotel, and the reason it was put in earlier was you typically want these in before you have a hotel, because when they come in, it just doesn't look as welcoming.
So that tax goes to the city?
So the way it taxes by state statute is split, so it goes, the city gets 30% of it, 70% of it goes to an entity that the city deems to be the tourism entity, and they have to spend it on promoting the city. So, we could use the Chamber of Commerce, we could have another organization, we could, it doesn't, 70% of it goes towards a community or an organization that's going to use it for tourism promotion. Any other questions or needing for the next reading on this?
No.
All right, hearing none. Voucher approval.
Motion to approve utility vouchers in the amount of $3,127,386.89.
Second.
Discussion.
Just a brief note that 3 million was MMSD money.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes.
Motion to approve general fund vouchers in the amount of $496,485.59.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes.
Motion to approve wire transfers for debt service in the amount of $1,758,391.05.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes.
Motion to approve wire transfers for payroll in the amount of $366,003.09.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. City officials report. There are none. Communications miscellaneous business as authorized by law. Any updates from any of the liaisons? Nope. All right. Any future agenda item requests? Motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned at 6:26. Thank you, everyone.